to the Elite Life Podcast with your hosts, Trisha and Kylee. Here, we guide you on a journey of personal and professional transformation, revealing the secrets to success. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we unlock the doors to the elite world of growth, grit, and grace. So, let's dive in.
Welcome, friends, to another episode of the Elite Life Podcast. We are so glad that you joined us today. My name is Trish. That is my fabulous co-host, Kylee, and we are here to bring you tips, strategies, and all things to elevate your life and business.
That is absolutely correct. I am Kylee, and you are Trisha, and we are here today, and we are going to go through our top 10 tips for writing and recording a successful webinar. We are going to share all of these nuggets with you. So if you're driving, make sure you make a mental note to come back and write these things down because you are not going to want to miss this. So these are going to help your business. You're going to use this webinar to expand your business, your branding, your clientele. So whether you're a newbie or a seasoned pro, we're going to teach you how to create a webinar that, like I said, not only engages your audience, but drives results.
Yes, this is an amazing opportunity to be able to meet more people and showcase your experience and expertise, thus leading to more leads, more clients, and being an absolute game changer in your business. So we want to break it down for you so you can duplicate this success in your life.
Absolutely. So whether you sell real estate, essential oils, or consult people on how to use earthworms to improve soil composition, let's dive in.
Wow. All right. That's specific. Number one.
Very specific.
Know your audience.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about earthworms. You want to know your audience inside and out. So before you start writing your webinar, you need to take time to research who your audience is, what they care about, and what problems they're looking to solve. So this will help you tailor your content to meet their needs. So when Trisha and I were putting ours together, we were like, okay, what kind of clients are we talking to for this webinar? It might be buyers. It might be first-time home buyers. It might be people who need to buy a home after selling their home. It might be sellers. It might be for sale by owners. So like you really want to niche down exactly who you're talking to.
Yeah, you have to speak directly to their pain points and offer solutions that really resonate with them. This creates a stronger connection and keeps them engaged throughout the webinar. That's really, really important. You want to keep them on the edge of the seat, like what's happening next? I want to know what happens next. How do I do this? I need to do this. I want to do this.
What are the tips?
Take my money.
So when we started writing our outline, like I said, we had a brainstorming session, okay? We decided to focus our first one on homeowners who want to leverage their equity in their home to put towards a new home. And so this is a niche audience because we're not just talking to all buyers. We're not talking to investors. We're not talking to first-time home buyers. We are specifically talking to these buyers who have a current home with equity. And, you know, this webinar, once we wrote it out, it very well could easily be converted to a first-time home buyer seminar or something like that. So keep that in mind too as you're exploring your audience and you're writing your outline. Make sure that if you have other niches that you could tap, that you could keep that outline and just tweak it a little bit to make it fit that other niche. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like you just said, starting out with a strong outline. Like once you've nailed down your audience, you have to create a strong outline. That's the backbone of your webinar. Break down your content into sections, starting with an introduction, followed by main points you want to cover, ending with a clear call to action.
Absolutely. I can't stress this enough. I've seen a lot of webinars over my lifetime, and all of the really good ones have a very clear call to action that echoes through the whole webinar. And there's usually some kind of exclusive, time-sensitive offer at the end for the clients to take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, we use outlines for our podcast, and it saves us time and energy and frustration because you see us, if we're not paying attention and engaging, the train can go off the track pretty quickly and we end up in a little wormhole of crazy.
Yeah. And then we just start saying things and it just goes downhill real fast. So make sure you have a really good outline. If you need help, hit ChatGPT, yo, say, write me a webinar outline about how to teach people to use earthworms to improve soil composition. I don't know why I'm stuck on that.
I don't know, but that brings us to our next tip, which is to keep it simple and focused.
Yes.
Okay? Especially if you are using ChatGPT. When I first went through the webinar that Kylee wrote, I'm like, what are you trying to say here? And she's like, I don't know. I put it in ChatGPT. And I'm like, yes, but this is just a bunch of big words. It doesn't actually make any sense. So we can't just run it through ChatGPT. You have to use your human brain. And I like to read it out loud.
That helped me a lot. That helped me a lot when I was revising it.
Yeah, you have to stick to a main topic, a main theme. That way, you don't want to overwhelm your audience. You don't want to talk above their heads. They have to be able to understand it and engage with it and relate to it.
Yeah, so if you are in an industry or your business could cover several different things, pick one thing. Pick one thing to teach people about that by teaching them, you will show your expertise, your experience, but also solve a problem for them. Pick one thing. Please just pick one thing. Because, I mean, as real estate agents, like I just said, we could talk about no less than 12 different topics in a webinar. We didn't do that.
No. Use engaging visuals. This is very important.
What? Okay, so visuals mean your slides, your pictures, your animations, infographics, videos. You want to use all of this stuff to complement your spoken word. It keeps the audience visually engaged and it helps reinforce your message. So like during our webinar, we created some slides. And on some of them, there were like quick bullet points of the lists. And as we were speaking, we were diving a little deeper into each one of those bullet points. But having those bullet points there, number one, helped people understand what we were talking about and keep track. But it also, gave them a quick overview and helped them, give them something to look at rather than just yapping at them.
Yeah, but also be careful with that. I had a professor at U of M one time, and he was like, you should not be reading off of your slides. Like, it should not be a full script. Keep it simple, keep it clean, keep it decluttered.
Yeah.
There's sleek. A lot. Yeah. Sleek, simple, like eye-catching, but not like overwhelming where they're not actually listening to you because they're too busy reading the slides and trying to go through all the information. And there's a lot of different tools you can use to make your slides. Like, I know you did yours in Canva.
Yeah. She was like, why didn't you make this in Google Slides? And I'm like, F Google Slides.
Actually, I prefer Word and PowerPoint. I'm a PowerPoint girl. You got me on Google. At U of M, they do use Google Slides, and I like that you can pick themes there, but I am old school
Canva's
Word and PowerPoint.
Canva is literally the best thing you can do. It's free. Create an account, get your shit going, and then you're done.
Yeah, everybody likes
They have templates.
Things.
Like if you're not super creative, you could pick a template, throw your information in there, get your picture on it. Bing, bang, boom, you're done.
Bing, bang, boom.
Bing, bang, boom. So that brings us to practicing. Practice, practice, practice. Like we just talked about. Once your script is done, once your outline is complete, run through it, please. Please, God, run through it. Record yourself running through it.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, watch, because if you're doing a webinar, people are going to see you. They're going to see you. And so you want to make sure that as you're going through the information, you are smiling and you are engaging. You're nodding your head. You're letting them know, like, this is the business.
And time yourself.
Yes.
This is the reason why I like to record myself. I need to time myself because, again, remember that people will zone out quite quickly. And when I started doing pitch competitions, I had to get out.
What's a pitch competition? Like singing?
No, like you're pitching I was pitching Stars Academy.
Oh.
You're trying to get investors to give you money. So you have like
Shark Tank.
Yeah, you have like 90 seconds to pitch them on why they should give you $1 million. And so it's like literally you only have this amount of time.
Did you say, I'm Trisha Dork, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me?
that would have been great. You had like 4 slides in a minute and a half and it's like, boom, go. And so that's where I learned to like record in time because you have no extra time for all of the shenanigans that I like to do, which is tell stories and use my hands and, get all engaged. It's like you need to be direct to the point. Give me money. Here's why. Let's go.
Yep. And that brings us to number 6, which is investing in quality equipment. So let's talk tech for a second. A good good microphone, a camera, lighting setup, this can make a huge difference. And I know, we like to preach from a box of like authenticity and like being yourself, but you want to make sure that people can see you, they can see your face, they can make out what you're saying. And also, like, especially if you're recording it to use later, then you want to make sure that the camera quality is good. I'm not saying you have to go out and spend like a bajillion dollars, but just hopping on Amazon and grabbing that $65 webcam over the $25 webcam can make a big difference.
I'm not going to lie. When I see like commercials and stuff on Facebook or Instagram, I'm going to call them commercials, but like people pitching like buy my coaching or buy this or buy that. I'm looking at that stuff. I'm looking at what's behind them. I'm looking at the equipment that they're using, because you want me to invest money in you, but you're doing your webinar on an iPhone, like in the back of your backdrop. Yeah, like I'm looking at it, because if you are not at a level above me, why do I want to invest money in you to teach me something, right? And so that's where this really matters. Like, pay attention to what's in your background. What kind of equipment are you using? Again, like, it's not to be bougie, but this is what people are thinking. If I'm going to give you my money, you better be at a level above me to be able to teach me something.
Yeah, and I don't think that you have to go out and spend a bunch of money. Like I just said, when I first started doing videos and webinars and things like that, I took my husband's headlamps. They were, at first I tried to like tip our actual like living room lamps over because it was softer lighting, but like it just wasn't clear enough. So I had Ryan's headlamps going. I just used I went around the house and I used what I had.
But you paid attention to the details.
You pay attention to the details.
Distracting. It's distracting if it's bad light or it's bad quality recording. Like, that's very distracting, and then I don't hear anything you're saying.
Exactly. So work with what you got, but take opportunities to level up in the places where you can. So for example, if you are just working with your phone, grab some flashlights, grab the lamps, put them all around.
You can get a ring light on Amazon for like $12.99.
Exactly.
I have like 3 ring lights in the office.
Okay, so if you need to borrow something, just call Trisha.
Yeah, come on over, Elite Realty.
Yeah, there you go. But honestly, don't wait though. Like, don't allow your inability to invest in thousands and hundreds of dollars of equipment. Don't let that hold you back from starting, because the whole point of having this webinar is to expand your business, which brings you more money, which allows you to level up with your equipment, which you can re-record. Like, don't let it stop you. Just do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah, and you'll continue to get better, because that's the thing. Like, you're practicing. Even when you're running these webinars, those are part of your practicing.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the next tip, which is to engage your audience. Engagement is very key to keeping your audience tuned in. Encourage participation by asking questions, using polls, responding to comments in real time. The more interactive your webinar is, the more invested your audience will be. People like to feel special, even if it's like, I don't want to say stupid special, but it's like, oh, Kylee in the audience. Like, people feel good about being recognized, even if it's just on a webinar.
Absolutely. I saw a webinar. I joined one. It was an informational one. I was doing some learning. And at the very beginning, while he was waiting for people to shuffle into the webinar, he had a poll in the chat that you could take. Mm-hmm. And it was basically just like, on a scale of 1 to 10, gauge how comfortable you are with your knowledge of XYZ. Right? And then he had it again at the end. And so that was a super fun way to engage the audience at the beginning, give them something to do at the end to keep them engaged and to keep them into, in the chat, in the webinar. And it also helped people feel really good when they were done, because at the beginning, obviously, if you're learning something new, you are going to be lower on that 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. And then at the end, everybody was, above 5, because, the guy did a good job. He taught us what he needed to. But that was a great way to engage the audience. I
really like that, and I'm going to use it. That's very interesting, because it also tells you how good of a job you did.
Exactly.
Because if everybody starts at 1s but they only move to 3s, that's a lot different than if everybody starts at 1s and they all move to 5s.
Yeah, you want to make sure that whatever method you use to engage people, I've seen, hey, drop where you are, drop your name and your state in the chat, drop how, depending on what you're learning, like they'll ask you to drop something in the chat and then they'll give people shout outs. Hey, Karen from Wisconsin. Hey, Kylie from Detroit. That's a great way.
Yeah. Also making sure you have an exclusive offer at the end of your webinar. That's really crucial because that helps them stay till the end because they want to see what that offer is. When we did our buy sell one, we did a pretty substantial amount of money off of their real estate transaction if they booked within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it might even just be a free downloadable resource. So it's like, hey, if you book within the next 24 hours, get this. If you miss that window, you can still get a free downloadable resource. Go to this link, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next thing is just keeping it short and sweet. We kind of covered this a little bit already, but you want to make sure that you are not keeping these people tied up for hours and hours. The best webinars that I've been a part of that I feel like 20 minutes isn't long enough for you to feel like you got something out of it. I feel like anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes, that's the sweet spot. What do you think?
Yeah, if you're not going to get me to sit on anything for an hour. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, I see a lot of things that are an hour or more. And to me, that's
an instant turnoff.
It feels very daunting. And I just don't have that. Even if I really, really, really want to listen and I really, really want to learn it, it's just a substantial chunk of time in my mind. That's the story I'm telling myself. So if I get on one, like, you better keep me real engaged. There was a webinar that I really wanted to watch it. And then here's another thing, guys. If you automatically tell me I'm going to get a link after that I can rewatch, I'm just going to wait for the link to rewatch it. I'm not coming on at the time that you say. So if you want to send out the link, I would wait to tell people that because if you want them to come on live, they're less likely to if you tell them they're automatically going to get a link.
Yeah.
But then I got the link and I turned it on and I seen that it was over an hour and I pretty much instantly tuned out of it, which is sad because I did want to watch it and want to listen.
It's just a big chunk of time.
It is. And they didn't engage me right away. Like, there wasn't anything where I was like, oh man, this is so good. This is fire. This is inspirational. Or not. Like, I was just like, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I will say there have been things like, what's his name? He wrote Max Out, and I'm picturing him in my mind, and I can't think of his name right now. But anyways, he had an event, and it was for his new book that he brought out called Max Out. And
Ed Milet?
Ed Milet. Yes, thank you. Ed Milet.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I tuned into him. Girl, I sat for 6 hours in front of my computer watching his event for Max Out.
No, you didn't.
I did. I took so many notes. I loved it so much. I didn't want it to end.
He can preach. I will tell you that.
He had so many good speakers. He had Andy Frisella. He had Marie Forleo. He had himself. He had Tony Robbins. He had Dean Graziosi. He had like every powerhouse speaker to ever exist. And I was just like, oh my gosh. But here's the thing, right? They engaged me. I watched it and I wanted to rewatch it, but I did not. So that's the other thing. Like, you have to be good enough to keep them engaged, but also you have to be able to give them enough information to take away from there and know that even though you tell them to rewatch it, they're not always going to rewatch it, even if they absolutely loved it. Because again, it was a huge chunk of time.
Yeah, and I think what you touched on there is also a good tip that we didn't really include here is if you have a partner or if you have someone to come on who can even if they don't know anything about your business, if you've got someone who can come on and kind of introduce you at the beginning of the webinar and maybe exit you at the end like a good hype man, you got a Flavor Flav in your life. That's what I really enjoyed about the webinar that we did was we're together. So we have a dynamic. And we were able to more have a conversation rather than just teaching people how to buy and sell a house. Like, we had a conversation, we could play off each other. I felt like that was really good. So there's a tip that we didn't include in our list that you could totally do as I completely demolish my mic here.
Yeah, but the other one is having a clear call to action. So after watching Ed Milet's show, his call to action was to buy his book. And not only did I buy his book, I bought like 7 or 10 of his books. Like, I had already bought the book before the thing.
And then she bought more.
But then I bought
them in the library and she gave them away. And everybody got one for Christmas.
Yep. So even though I didn't rewatch the webinar, his call to action worked because I bought more books.
There you go. And it was an easy ask though, too. You have to make the call to action as easy as possible. So for our webinar, you just click. You just click a link and you book a time. It's very easy. Don't ask people to give the email and then go to the email and then open this thing and then download that. Like, that's all great. But please, God, make it so easy for them that they can't say no. Yeah. Make it so easy for them that they can't say no. And then make sure, is our last tip, to follow up after the webinar. I was thinking about this when we were talking about the polls just a minute ago. When you have a poll at the beginning and a poll at the end, yes, you can engage how well you did, but you can also follow up with people specifically depending on how you set it up and what platform you use for your poll. And you can reach out to Mary and you could say, hey, Mary, I noticed that at the beginning of the webinar, you said you were a 3 and at the end you were at like a 6. I want to come alongside you. And it just gives you another reason to follow up with people rather than just like, hey, did you like this? Blah, blah, blah. And you can maybe offer a little bit more of a tailored conversation to this person. So again, building that rapport, building that know, like, and trust, and giving them an opportunity to give you some more feedback. And then just offering that connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And, there you have it. Top 10 tips of writing and recording.
11, actually. 11.
Yeah, we did give a bonus. You're welcome.
Bonus. Who doesn't like a bonus, right? Okay. So we are going to thank you guys for joining us. We're really glad you be here.
Love you.
All right. We drop fresh content every Thursday, so make sure you hit that subscribe wherever you are listening and come back next week for some more Elite Life.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on the Elite Life Podcast with Trisha and Kylee. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend so we can keep delivering you more fantastic insights on grit, grace, and growth. Stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook, where we'll keep the ideas flowing to help you build a life you love and leave a legacy you can be proud of. Until next time.